Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Downtime in the Ring. But first and foremost, we have to do a little housekeeping rules. So, before anything else, be sure to go and check out one of our favorite podcasts, Teasy's Table with Monteasy. Every couple of episodes, he will have such amazing guests. He's already had Kira Hogan, Kevin Knight, and many others, including his back catalog, including Tyra Valkyrie, and many, many more. Definitely go to his YouTube channel, check him out. We love him more than anything. And also, with the past couple of days, this ad's going to hit me a little bit harder. With the past couple of days, something very sad has happened, and for a lot of people, we need to talk more about mental health. So please use the hashtag tag me in on all platforms. Let's try to get this going and growing, because everybody needs their tag team partner in life. Everybody needs somebody that they can go to and they can talk to, and this is the most important thing that we can do. Everybody deserves a tag team partner when life gets hard. So please use the hashtag tag me in. This week we have the flower child, Theo Strong, joining us this week.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, man. I'm excited for this one. Hopefully this one's a good one.
Should be. I'm excited too. I don't do very many of these, so I'm glad to talk to you guys.
We're popular.
Yeah, no, I caught on early because you had followed us on Instagram, and so I kind of was just going through sending emails out, kind of going through all the socials, just to hit up with messages, and I saw you, and so I just sent you a message, say, hey, you want to start this podcast? Didn't think you'd actually answer, so thank you again.
Yeah, of course. No, thank you for reaching out. Thank you for having me on. I'm the type of person that can get on, and I love talking about wrestling. I love wrestling so much. Obviously, a crazy enough amount to go out there and do it. You know what I mean? So, any opportunity or any chance I get to, get on any platform and talk about the business that I love so much, I'm always down to do that. And anything else, you can ask me about anything. I'm pretty much an open book of a
That's
person.
crazy. And how many years have you been in the business?
So I've only been wrestling. I've been in the business about 5. So I've been training since 2019. So I've been actually working for about 4 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really cool, man. So you're still young, and you're not quite that veteran status yet. How does it how does it feel? Like, do you still get the goosebumps? Do you still get excited? Because there are some veterans that we have met who, as much as they love wrestling, being in backstage is still, or is it's kind of like nothing to them. Like it's just a normal day. They've already got shaken those feelings away. Is that you, or do you still get nervous from time to time?
That's a good question. So I'll answer that this way. I really think, for me personally, this is my passion. This is what I love to do. I hope, one day in the near future, I can, sign a contract and do this as my job. That's what we all strive for. That's what everybody gets in this business to do, is to earn a contract, or at the very least earn, enough of a living just wrestling on the indies, to be able to just make that your priority and make it your job. And so with that being said, yes, it's still the most fun thing that I do in my life. I can say that 100%. It's still the most fun thing that I do. I still get butterflies. I still get goosebumps when, I pull up to a venue or I pull up to an event. And the whole, like, being in the locker room, honestly, it's one of my favorite parts about the business is getting to meet people and getting to interact with people that are all like-minded individuals. Obviously we've seen within the last few years, we've started to weed out some of the bad eggs and things like that. But, it's really starting to get to a point where it feels like the camaraderie as a whole in the wrestling business is starting to, get to a good place. Which is why it's so exciting for me to get on the road and get into locker rooms and get on shows, especially ones that I haven't been to before. But as far as just being there, no, it doesn't really. I don't know. I guess I don't get nervous or feel some type of way about being in a locker room, or going to a show. It's like, yes, it's exciting for me, and I do love to do it, still. But being in the locker room at this point in my career, it's kind of just second nature. Being around a bunch of guys that I've kind of come up with, and also just being in there with new guys that I get to ask questions and pick their brain, and so. I don't know. I kind of rambled, but I hope that, kind
Oh
of.
no,
You're
you're
good.
fine. You're fine.
You're good. You're good, brother. I know a lot of people don't ever apologize for rambling, man. That's what we love. We want you guys to talk, and we want you guys to get your flowers, and everybody to feel like, they can say what they want. Going into that, where are places that you have wrestled, and where have you not wrestled that you really want to wrestle? And we'll keep it simple with like just within the continental United States.
Yeah. So I haven't made it out of the U.S. this year, or in my career yet. But that's one of the things I was hoping to accomplish this year. If not this year, definitely next year. I think my biggest goal this year is to get on the West Coast. I'd really like to wrestle, in like Washington or Northern California. Even in Southern California. I'm not a big fan of LA area, but I know they have some pretty lucrative wrestling down there. So, but yeah, getting to the West Coast is probably my biggest goal for this year. But mostly where I work now, I work a lot around the Midwest. So I'm all over Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Indiana, Chicago area, not too much elsewhere in Illinois, but I wrestle in the Chicago area, Kentucky. Pretty much everything that touches Ohio is kind of where like my circuit is.
Nice, nice. And just to after doing a little bit of research, you are the heavyweight champion of Midwest Championship Wrestling.
Correct.
How's your time been there being like a staple, even like working up the company to being that main champion?
So, yeah, I'm actually really glad you asked me that, so I can kind of, big them up a little bit. So, MCW was kind of, so Jay, the promoter there, Jay Martin, great guy. He really gave me an opportunity, my first like big opportunity to like, be a staple of a roster, you know what I mean? Like be on the roster, be in storylines, do this, do that. And he kind of like gave that to me early on in my career. I don't know, I guess he just saw something in me, and then eventually, it kind of just took on a whole life of its own. I just for some reason the fans there in Marion, Ohio just kind of connected with me. They just latched onto me. So and so it was just it was so organic and so natural how the whole thing happened. And it didn't just put me in the main event or just put me, at the top of the card right away. Like I really had to show them. I really had to earn my way there. But once I showed them, what I could do and what I'm capable of and what I can really pull out of the fans, he was, he went all in on me, and I, showed him that I deserved to be at that spot. And, I can't say enough, good things about Jay and about MCW and the whole roster there. It's honestly one of my favorite places to go. It's not a big promotion, but because of the group of guys that consistently come in and out of that locker room, it's a great place to come, get ring time, to wrestle, and just to be in front of an audience that really like cares about the guys that wrestle there consistently. So, but yeah, it's been really fun working with Jay and working with MCW and giving them my input on, you know, certain things. It's been a really great like tenure there, and I just started my third reign as champion, technically second, but I like to say it's 3 times.
What is a goal that you want to set? I know you said you want to go to the West Coast, but overall, like, what is something that you've set yourself for this year that's tangible that you know you can get if you just put in the work? What it like? Is it a match at Mania Week out in Philly? Is it, you know, trying to work backstage for one of the big promotions? What is something that you want to do?
So the biggest thing for me this year was to try to get on TV somewhere, as an extra, as a squash, as, you know, whatever the case may be. I think that's kind of been like one of my recurring goals for the last like year and a half to 2 years, is kind of just like, I need to get my face in front of more faces, if that makes any sense. I need to just like, which is so funny because I'm actually really bad at social media. Like, I could be so much better at it, and it's this day and age, it's like in wrestling and honestly everything, all forms of artistry. It's really important, and I'm just so not good at it because I've never been the type to just like want to post stuff online. Like, I'm like, I don't know, like, I very much live my gimmick. The reason that my gimmick is like the flower child, like, I'm kind of just a free spirit. I'm kind of a hippie in real life. I kind of just like, you know, fly by the seat of my pants and do whatever, you know, comes to me, or whatever makes me happy is just what I do. And that's why it's so hard for me to like constantly be on my phone and constantly be posting on social media and constantly keeping up with everything that's going on, which I've been getting better at. So that's one thing that I really need to work on. Honestly, another goal of mine is to, as I don't know, as superficial as it sounds, I need more followers on Instagram and Twitter, please. um, but yeah, I just really want to get on TV, in any capacity. And even if it's like, you know, doesn't even have to be USA or Fox or TNT or what have you. Like, I'm cool with like doing a smaller local, like a smaller promotion that is on like TV in a local area or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, just getting to more of those places, I think would be really good for me. Also, I just really want to work, there's a couple of promotions here in Columbus that I actually haven't got to work for yet. But I'm going to start reaching out to them. But I really want to get on an unsanctioned show in Columbus because they run ballrooms and those are really cool. Yeah.
An unsanctioned, is that where Paragon? Did Paragon do that, Chris?
I think so.
I believe Paragon's worked for unsanctioned. Yeah.
He's a good friend of ours.
Okay.
He's a good buddy of ours. So I understand what you're coming from, and even in a previous episode that we just had with a head coach for AML, which hosts WrestleCade, Josh Gary, he talked about, you know, the importance, even though it's very hard. We've had both sides of this conversation. Paragon said, you know, social media is hard for some people. They you know, they were either the person that got made fun of when we were younger, because we're all relatively the same age, or, you know, like me, I love being on social media. I love constantly checking everything. I check the news, wrestling news consistently, like in our Discord. Normally I'm the guy that's updating everybody with everything that's going on. So I completely understand what you're talking about. You know, social media being the hard thing. And maybe it's like a daily reminder thing you have to set for yourself or something like that. The TZ Stable podcast, Swerve City, they had Matt Cardona on, and he talked about how he has to set like the delayed tweets and TikToks and everything, so that one, he's making 8 posts a day, but people think that they're right at that moment. They don't know that, while has these 8 posts going, he's really just, sitting on his couch watching his dogs, chew up his toys or whatever. Like that's
Damn, I
kind of
didn't
the thing.
even. I'm sorry, I didn't even know you could do that. So I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to figure out how to do that.
It's
Yeah,
a
definitely.
fine dance. Even like I struggle with it. Like with our Instagram that I run, I'm on it. I've had to kind of give myself like 2 days off, 2 days on, but it's just getting into that routine of it and then building it to where you can get to that level of I'm doing it daily. I personally don't see it being very healthy to do it on the daily, like let's say on the social media level of an influencer per se.
Yeah,
And that's the absolute extreme, like with the IRL streamers and stuff, just going on that tangent. But
Yeah.
like if you can see the extreme and you can see the low end of it, there you can find that happy medium. And it's just getting to that happy medium that even myself that I struggle with at times. So I completely understand that.
yeah, no, I 100% agree.
It's that weird part. Like we were too young to be at the beginning of all of this because we were still in our teens, but now we're at the point where the people that were born after us are like already ahead of it, and we're like, man, how do we reach that simple, sweet little bit?
Yep.
Where do we get our chance in that little spot? So
same thing like Theo said, Instagram followers, you guys, Instagram followers, please.
Instagram followers.
Downtime in the ring, destroy Theo. Please follow us.
Yep.
Yes, please. So how happy are you with your career so far? I know you're only 5 years into it. Normally I ask people who are like 10 years into it, 15 years into it, but being so early on into it, there could be those struggles that you suffer with where you're like, man, traveling city to city, you're not really you're competing in kind of the second golden age of professional wrestling where indie shows aren't looked down upon. They're like, oh man, you're an indie wrestler? That's cool because you get to do, you can do the GCWs, you can do the AMLs, you can, you have people who are trying to connect you and get you onto the West Coast, get you to Arizona, get you to North Carolina, all those places. Like, how does it feel? Are you happy currently?
So, yes. And I'll tell you why. So I'm definitely an interesting person to ask that question to. Well, maybe not. There's probably a lot of people that feel the same way that I do. But just like harkening back to what I said earlier about just like this being my passion and about it being what I want to do, I always tell people, when it's all said and done, at the end of the day, if I don't ever get a contract, I don't ever make it, and I still have to do some type of 9 to 5, or I still have to do something else to make wages to, live my life that isn't wrestling. At the end of the day, I did it. I tried it. I did it. However long I did it for, I did it for that amount of time, and nobody can take that away from you. And it just because you're not doing it, in front of 10,000 people every Monday and Friday, or, and just because you're not being watched by millions of people, like you're taking the same bumps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're putting your body on the line just as much as they are. So at the end of the day, it's like we feel it just as much as they feel it. Mm-hmm. So for me, if I get nothing out of this business when I'm done with it, I'll still be happy that I did it, because and I can honestly say wrestling was probably either wrestling or football. One of the two were my first like true love. And I'm pretty sure it was wrestling because my dad's been wrestling since I was pretty much born. So,
Cool, man. That's cool. That's something. So how old are you actually?
I am 28.
Okay, cool. Okay, you're Chris's age. Okay, cool. So I was right. We're roughly about the same age. Yeah. So one thing that I'm pushing, because I am with a wrestling school here in New Mexico. I'm starting to go through my journey and trying to get to it. And the one thing that I get mad the most, and if anybody listens, they can argue with me on it. My DMs are open. Is everybody tries to do the old school way of networking in professional wrestling, and I literally created this podcast as a way to network with wrestlers. I mean, I've had compliments from people who have competed on GCW, who have been at AEW, who have done all of that. And I always try to push it, and it always gets put to the side of it's okay to, talk to people still. It's still cool to, DM, find a wrestler on the indies that you admire and say, "Hey, how'd you get there? How do I get there? Can we help each other? I will, I'll do whatever I can to get there." And that's what I think is a lot of people still struggle with, is they're like, you have to go to shows. Yes, but also this isn't the Jim Crockett days where we're all, driving in our hoopty down 50 miles to go and get $1.50 and a handshake. This ain't the days. Like you can do all these things. So I hope that's something that when we help you and I give you those names, I hope that's something that you take is, okay, cool. Create these relationships, do these things. Even Josh Gary said it. Like, me and him, we have the same mindset. I will message every guest that we have on holidays or just randomly, and I'll be like, "Hey man, how you doing?" or "What's going on?" so that you guys remember me, that we remember you. And if somebody comes up to us and they're like, "Oh man, who was that one guest you had?" I'm like, "Oh, that's my buddy. Okay, cool. Now I'm gonna help you." Like that's the mentality. So I hope that's something that I can bestow on you, is just, if you find somebody on the indies, dude, just be like, "Yo, I'm gonna take my shot." I know rejection's scary, and that's what a lot of people struggle with. But most of the time, these vets are like, "Man, I want to help everybody I can."
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's how it is. And it's really how it is in this area. I've definitely been blessed with being able to work with a lot of vets that want to give back. You know what I mean? Like it's truly remarkable how, many guys are willing to just just open up and just like take questions and just give advice and just like give their thoughts and just like tell stories about their experiences in the business. And it's really dope. And like going back to what you said about not being afraid to reach out, that's so true, man. Like at the end of the day, like if you're respectful and you're professional about the way you go about business, then literally the worst thing that can happen to you is either someone says no or someone ignores you.
Yeah.
And all that does is just like keep that door open for more opportunities, because like, you know what I mean? Like just keep, if that one doesn't open, then there's another door that's going to open. Like you just have to keep knocking, and you just have to keep trying to bust those doors down. Because if you don't, then you're never going to get anywhere. It's the famous quote, "Closed mouths don't get fed." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's just like you have to be willing to take those risks. You have to be willing to reach out, but you also have to do it in a respectful and professional manner. You know what I mean? Like you should have, you should have resumes are good. I think having a resume is really good. Having clips and matches is really good. Not just highlight tapes of your best moves, but having sending promoters matches is a lot of people don't do that for some reason, but it's that's a really good tool because it makes you stand out. Like you're sending a promoter your resume, telling them why you want to work for them, and then you send them a match to say hey, this is what you would be working with if you decided to book me. And I think that's really important, is just giving them a taste of why they should bring you in. And I feel like that's another reason why a lot of guys don't get booked or don't get second looks, is because they're not serious about wanting to get opportunities. You know what I mean? They'll message a promoter or go to a show and shake his hand one time and then, you know, bitch and complain about, oh, sorry, I don't know if I can.
No, you're good. You're good.
You're
That's,
good.
you're good. You're
Yeah, but you know, and then guys will go and bitch and complain, you know, why am I not getting bookings, or why is he booking you and not me? Da, 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 da. It's like, well, how hard did you really try to get booked?
Yeah.
What did you send him? Did you say, hey, I'm available? Did you, you know, post a graphic on your Facebook that said I'm available for these dates? Like, those are good, but you know, you gotta try a little bit harder if you really want to make it in this business. There's a lot of things that you could be doing better. There's a lot of things that I could be doing better. I'm saying this
Yeah.
shit, but like,
Yeah.
you know, like, I'm not perfect. Like, obviously, who am I? You know, so like, there's just, you know, that's I take my own advice, and I'm ready to get better. I ask questions to see, you know, what other people who are maybe in a bit of a better position than I am, how'd you get here? What did you do? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, what does it take? And you know, I just feel like people might be a little afraid to ask those questions, and they don't want to dig, you know, deep enough to really get where they want to be. But I'm in it for the long haul, so yeah.
Let's get you to California. Let's do it.
One second.
Let's try it.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. That's where I belong. That's like the part of the country that I belong in anyway.
No, 100%. I know. So you were talking about a couple of promotions in LA that you're like, you know, you're a little hesitant on. You know, everybody has those promotions. Like we have thankfully, we have multiple promotions finally in the state of New Mexico. So, you know, some good, some bad. Everybody has their off days, this, that, and the other. What gets you excited? Like, what do you say? So for me, and I'll use this as an example, is I want to grow this podcast to the point where we are, even if I, you know, I can't wrestle, even if I get hurt or something, I still want to be a part of the business. I still want to do something amazing and be known for this. So what gets you excited? What gets you motivated other than a contract? Because contracts these days, yes, they're prestigious and they're exciting, but they don't come to everybody. But you still have people who are known on the indies.
Oh
You
yeah.
have the Myron Reeds, who, brother, he was on here for an hour and he was saying, like, that was one thing that he talked about the most. He wanted a contract. And I was like, my God, bro, let me give you your flowers, dude. Like, you're doing all these amazing things. Yes, you don't have a contract. What's something that gets you excited though? What's something that motivates you the most?
Well, first, let me say shout out to Myron Reed, the young goat. I don't know him personally, but that's a bad man right there. But I would say, honestly, what gets me excited, man, is really just like having good matches, and not just having good matches, but having good fan reaction, having good crowd reaction. Like, what gets me excited is really just like being able to have the opportunity to pull emotions out of fans and get them invested into what we're doing. I feel like wrestling's kind of been missing a lot of that, especially kind of on the indie scene, because like really like the indie scene is, you know, you have a lot of guys coming in and out and doing one-offs for like a lot of these bigger promotions, and it's hard to like build stories around them and stuff. So really they're just like, these promotions will go out there and just have like the sickest matches you've ever seen, and it's like, and then like one or two of those matches they'll sprinkle in like some old school stick or some like, you know what I mean, some like slow it down, let's pace it out, and let's really like get these fans to like invest in what we're doing. And that's the type of wrestling that I like, is like I love like watching, and I love doing like the sprint style matches and like super athletic crazy stuff. Like that stuff's really cool to me. But like my personal preference is just like I love that old school shtick style of wrestling. You know, like Arn Anderson's one of my heroes. That's why like that's Triple H is my favorite wrestler of all time. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like I like looking up to those guys. Like what gets me excited is being able to like, I don't know, play that out in front of a crowd. And like there's guys that are on TV like that do it the best that I've ever seen it. But, you know, I want to be there one day. Like I want to be able to, like, even if it's not with a contract or on TV or in front of thousands, like I want to be able to like be known for making the audience feel something. And I don't know, that kind of excites me a little bit. That kind of like, that's what motivates me, is to get the fans invested emotionally.
That goes hand in hand, really, because once you get them emotionally invested, they're like, man, I want to see him in a Cincinnati promotion. Okay, now I want to see him down in Jacksonville. Okay, now I want to see him like that. That's really
Exactly.
how it goes. I mean, yes, like you said, this is cool, and you can put on the best match, and this is a body business. But if you can't grab them emotionally, or if you're only good at being, and this is the one thing that throws me off the most, is if you're only good at being one side. So if you're only good at being a heel, or you only want to look like a heel, or if you only want to act like a heel, I'm like, that's going to get you only so far.
Right.
That's what I believe. I believe you have to, if you want to be the best wrestler you can, you got to learn both sides, and you got to do it well in every facet.
Agreed. And that's actually something that has been instilled in me through my training, and my trainer, who I also would like to give a shout out to, James Avery, is the head trainer for Ohio Pro Wrestling Academy. And I mean, you know, they train some really, really good wrestlers come out of that place. But basically, that's something that was always told to us in training was, you should be able to be a face or a heel with whatever gimmick that you have.
Mm.
You shouldn't have to change your gimmick to be a good guy or a bad guy. You know what I mean? Like, you should be able to do it both ways. And I think the most golden example of that is probably The Rock. I mean, you know, I mean, The Rock was, you know, The Rock never changed his gimmick. He just changed who he was talking to. So, you know what I mean? So it's just, I think I think it's very important for you to be, you know, multifaceted and just be well-rounded, like being good at being a heel, being good at being a face, you know, working athletic style of matchup, but also being able to slow it down and working an old school technical style match. Like, you know, wrestling is a lot of people don't realize that wrestling is so much more than just the moves. Like, the moves are almost secondary.
Yeah.
When like in this business, like, you know, it's just, there's so much more that goes into it than just like going out there and doing suplexes and destroyers and all kinds of different stuff. Like, it's so much more. There's a whole side to it that a lot of people don't realize.
Well, of course, you have your breakdown of every match, and then you go into it and you're like, okay, cool. This is this is very unique. And like, even if you want a seminar, go back to our previous episode with Josh Gary. He talks about his time when he was working with Ring of Honor, and the breakdowns that the Bucks would do when they were with Ring of Honor, and he got to witness that and talk to them and do all that kind of stuff. That's just like my struggle with wrestling nowadays, and learning more into it, and working backstage at indies until I can debut and do all of that, is everybody wants the contract, and rightfully so. But I'm like, once you get there, is this who you are right now? Is this what people are going to love when you get that contract?
Right.
Are you interesting enough to stick to the same thing to get that contract? And I think that's a lot of things that people don't want to hear.
No,
they want
it's
to hear.
not.
Yeah. I'm like, you're cool now in front of 300 people, but then get into the tribalists that are part of each of these companies, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. I know you're confident. I know it'll work. I have faith, but that's just the cold hard truth. Like, me right now, no, I don't believe that we're million subscriber worthy, but we grow and we learn, and each time we review it, we talk, we spend hours every week going over this stuff, trying to figure out what else we can do.
Yeah.
And then I'll see people who have the same gimmick for like 3 years, and I'm like, but you deserve that contract, bud.
Yeah, like same gimmick, but you're also in the same place that you
Yeah.
were 3 years ago. So
Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. I think that being able to adapt is very, very important in this business. But as like, I don't know, like I think the best way to do it for me at least is what I've kind of like just kind of like fallen into like this cycle. But I really like I decided like I'm not it like I decided in the beginning that like I'm not gonna chase a contract. Like
Yeah.
that's not what I'm like, because at the end of the day, like that's the goal. Like obviously is to wrestle as your job. Like I
Yeah.
want wrestling to pay my bills and get me around. Um but I'm not actively like that's not the only thing that I want out of this. You know what I mean? Like that, like I want that to come with how I'm putting the work in now. Like I'm just enjoying myself like so much. Like
Yeah.
it's really crazy how much I'm actually enjoying myself just like wrestling. Because it's not just the wrestling, it's like the meeting people, like meeting people that you've gotten to like watch wrestle, like in people that you've looked up to, people that you can have conversations with that you used to watch. Like that stuff's just really, really cool to me. And like meeting all the different people, like younger than me, older than me, people the same age as me, like we all like are doing this weird crazy fucking thing that's wrestling. And it's like it's just the most wackiest, silliest thing in the world, but it's insane how much it brings people together. And
Mhm.
it's just like that's the coolest part to me, is the fact that like, you know, if I just keep having fun but also keep working hard, I know in my heart of hearts that like something will work out for me, because that's just the vision and that's the mindset that I've decided to have for myself is, you know, as long as I keep enjoying myself, as long as it's still fun, as long as like, because when it stops being fun, I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And that goes for anything in my life. It's just like, if it's not fun anymore, I don't want to do it. And so, and wrestling, like pro wrestling hasn't even like began to even like scratch that yet. Like it's still like I'm still like having the time of my life. I'm still enjoying every bit of it. I'm still enjoying every time I get on the road. Like I know we were talking about like, you know, road trips, you know, aren't everything anymore, and you don't have to, you know, you can, you know, connect with people via, you know, socials and technology and stuff. But I don't know, man. There's just something about just getting on the road with 2, 3 other people and just being in the car for hours, just talking about stuff, and then going to wrestle for 10 minutes and then getting back on the road and maybe
Almost
going
dying.
home or going somewhere else to wrestle somewhere else. Like, I don't know, man. It's just like there's something that's fun about those weekends. Like, yeah, it's hard on the body. It is, and it definitely takes years off of your career, even possibly your life. But like, I don't know, it's just something about being crammed in them cars that's like, I don't know, it's very nostalgic for me. And I do enjoy being on the road. I do enjoy, you know, having face to face with people. Like that's just, I don't know, like I enjoy it. I enjoy being around wrestling as much as possible. So that's why, you know, the car rides never bothered me. But yeah, like I love this stuff so much, man. Like I'm just enjoying myself and like chasing the contracts and chasing the titles and stuff. Like I never got into it to like be somebody's champion, or like I just did it because like I was fucking super depressed. nothing made me happy besides wrestling. Like literally just watching wrestling and keeping up with wrestling was the only thing that made me happy. My dad was in my ear like, when are you going to start training? When are you going to start training? And I'm like, nah. You know, football was kind of my thing forever growing up. And then, you know, I had this crazy, like, sit down, like, heart to heart with my stepmother. And she was just like, dude, like, it's the only thing that you want to do. So just fucking do it. And I went to training that Sunday. I went to a tryout that Sunday. And then fast forward, here I am, you know, doing podcasts and stuff about wrestling. Like, that's so dope to me. Like, this is so dope to me. Like, this, like, even like at this level, like, whether it's this level or whether it's Rogan, like, this shit is so cool to me that somebody would even ask me to do this. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm very thankful. I'm very grateful that you guys did this anyway. So, once again, I do appreciate it. You guys having me on here.
Of course.
Yeah, no,
man.
and it's always like for me when I started doing this with him, I like the community behind wrestling. Like I when I went to Rumble for the first major event, you know, large event. I've been to a small show like back in the day, but like going to a PLE, let's say, and just striking up a conversation with damn near anyone, they wrestlers, fans, marks, tribalists, just the passion for it and the sense of community and the sense of community against community. It's just like it's a whole mechanism of just and aside and just putting all their differences away and focusing on this one thing and coming together just for this one thing is very great for me. And just like being able to talk to these wrestlers, like I didn't think like our second episode out would be Zilla Fatu, you know, like that was just what okay, you know, and then like getting to meet all these other indie wrestlers and stuff and knowing their stories and knowing how they came up, what they struggled with and how they are where they are now. It's crazy to see, and it's very motivational on this side of things, and therefore it's helping us push forward to becoming that better thing and furthering the business and helping it grow even more, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Wrestling's got one of the absolute best and one of the absolute worst fan bases.
Yep.
Like, it's amazing how much of like a fucking 50-50 that is. It's crazy. But it's so funny, but because like at the end of the day, it's like even if you hate this and you love this, or you love this and you hate this, it's like you still love wrestling. So that's pretty cool, at least. You know what I mean? Like, so that's pretty cool.
Everyone has their favorite flavor of ice cream. Just go ahead and pick out of the millions of promotions.
Still ice cream, baby.
Still ice cream.
Unless you're one of the weird guys who likes to, you know, drink ketchup or something like that.
Fuck, I hate ketchup. Oh my god.
Overall, dude, thank you for coming on. Where can everybody find you?
Yeah. I really appreciate you guys having me. Sorry if I like rambled on a few occasions. I feel like I didn't completely answer all of your questions, but I kind of
and we like again, we don't ask like you like your top 5 like wrestlers or anything. We always like to get to know you as an individual outside of wrestling. Of course, wrestling is going to be the subject matter, but we like to know each and every guest, and we try and take the time to further like integrate. Like I'm currently watching like Midwest Championship Pro Wrestling now because like just like looking up like your matches and stuff. I saw the fatal 4-way that you were in for your championship. I saw the
moonsault's sick, isn't it?
The moonsault. He's got a pretty good moonsault. I highly suggest you go check it out.
Appreciate that.
I don't know. I keep getting confused. Is it a patella brainbuster or is it an Ushigoroshi that's your finisher?
So,
and if so, what is the name of that finisher?
So it is At first, so when I originally started doing it, I thought it was an ushigoroshi, but I found out that an ushigoroshi is when you do it from a fireman's carry.
Fireman's carry, yes.
So then I'm pretty sure it's just a patella drop brain buster. And I've had a few ideas for the name, but I still don't have a name for it. I still don't have one because, like, I don't know. It's just I don't know because, like, there's some things that, like, I don't know. It's just like one of those things that I never like prioritized was naming my signatures.
Yeah.
Because, like, back in the day, it wasn't a huge thing. Because, like, a lot of people, like, I don't know, like, I like watching, like, I love all eras of wrestling, but, like, my favorite eras of wrestling are, like, I don't know, early 90s, like, late 80s, early 90s. Like, I'm just a big, like, fan of, like, the NWA and the Four Horsemen and early WCW and stuff like that.
Nice.
So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just Arn Anderson's just throwing out spine busters and brain busters, and, like, that's just, you know what I mean? Like, that's just what they're called now. So that's just kind of like, I just leave them at that. But I actually was going to do a poll on Twitter, like, probably like a month ago. I was getting ready to do a poll on Twitter on, like, I was gonna throw out some names and just see, like, which ones, like, people like the best, and then I was just gonna have people give me ideas and stuff. But yeah, I don't have a name for the patella brainbuster or the moonsault, but names coming soon. If you guys have any good suggestions, let me know. But yeah, because I was thinking about calling it the bass drop, but I'm pretty sure Gringo, his top rope finisher is called the bass drop. So it's like, I can't do that. I can't do that. But yeah, I'm still thinking about the names. The names are coming, but I just, like, it was one of those things I never, like, really worried about because, like, I wasn't working when I started. I wasn't working too many places that had, like, commentary or anything. So, like, a lot of people weren't asking me those questions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, and it's funny that you asked me that because, like, literally just, like, recently in the last few months, people have been, like, asking me, like, what's, like, we're trying to get you over, like, what should we call this, da 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 da, and I'm like, fuck, I don't know, man. Like, I need to
it's branding. It's branding.
It is branding, but I also went through, like, a gimmick change too. Like, when I first started, I was the Destroyer, which is why, like, my name on Instagram is Destroyed Theo, which I don't know, I thought it was funny just to keep it that when I changed, you know. But that wasn't, like, that was more so, like, my, like, I have to be, like, Mr. Tough Guy, like, Mr. Beat 'em Up guy, like, tough ass wrestler number 3, basically. You know what I mean? And then, I don't know. Then I was just like, it's not me. Like, it's good wrestling persona. It's good to, like, be that intense in the ring and everything. But I was like, man, I can still keep that same intensity in the ring, but also just, like, be myself, which is, like,
because you attend raves and stuff like that, and that's how you kind of base most of your gimmick off of the flower child.
Pretty much.
Electric Daisy, huh?
Yeah. So, like, yeah, I'm, like, super big into, like, I'm a big festival goer and I love EDM music and, like, super big into, like, you know, holistic healing and just, like, kind of just all that, like, hippie stuff that people make fun of all the time. But, you know, I'm super into it and it gives me joy and it makes me happy and it lets me live my life a certain type of way that's free of judgment. And that's kind of basically what my whole gimmick is like everything that I just said there is just, like, that's how I would like to live my life. So that's how I live my life. And that's just kind of, like, I decided just, like, I don't know, it was the best way for me to connect with people and connect with crowds and stuff was, like, me being myself. Cause, like, it's hard for me to connect with people when I'm, like, not necessarily playing a character because like everybody's really playing a character in wrestling, even if it's just, like, yourself turned up to 100. And that's kind of just what I did. It was just, like, I kind of just took my own, like, personal life and just kind of, like, was like, dude, this is a good wrestling gimmick. I just have to like be over the top with it. So that's what I do. So like, and it's crazy because like festival stuff is like, you know, festival fashion is very already over the top and like very crazy and funky anyway. So it was like I didn't really have to try that hard as far as like the aesthetic goes. So but yeah, no, I know we were like kind of like signing off, weren't we? So I don't know. I don't know how I got off on that tangent.
No, you're good.
No, we went on a little tangent there,
but no,
dude looks like Austin Theory, acts like Elias. That's all I'm gonna say. That's my final thought. You look like Elias and Austin Theory's like love child, dude. It's a good way. It's a compliment. I'll say that.
I mean, that's not a compliment. Like,
I can't say anything.
I'll take it. That's so. It's so funny too because a lot of people don't realize that I'm biracial.
Oh, I figured.
And yeah, and like it's so funny because I'm just like, somebody the other day, who the fuck did they say I look like? And I almost like died laughing. No, they said I looked like if Sinbad was Amish. That's what they said.
Oh.
And yeah. And I fucking like I didn't know whether to like crumble or just like give them a hug for how funny that fucking joke was.
If Sinbad was Amish, I'm trying to find Austin Theory when he had the combat gear and he was trying to do the mean gimmick for like 2 weeks. That's who you look like. That's who you look. Yeah. That's who you look like. You look like when he was angry for 2 weeks and then he disappeared for like a month.
Hey, I'll take it. I definitely don't have that physique, but I'll take it.
Hey, you're still a big guy. You're still a very big guy. I will say that.
That is very true. I'm still 232 pounds, boy.
You gotta have now I'm stuck on your moonsault name. It's gotta be like the Aoki drop or something like that. Something like paying homage to somebody. Like that's what it's gotta be. Or who's your team since you're in Ohio?
Man, I mean I am a big Buckeyes fan, but I'm a huge Steelers fan.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's from my time in Youngstown, Ohio, when I lived there as a kid. It was actually closer to go to Pittsburgh games than it was to Cleveland. So I kind of just like grew up being a Steelers fan. A lot of people don't know that Youngstown's actually kind of split down the middle when it comes like Pittsburgh and Cleveland fans.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's I hate them both, but that's still interesting.
Yeah, no, that's funny. You know what? That's actually a really good idea. I might have to incorporate like, something like that. I'm gonna try to attribute it to my city. I'm gonna try to get it to like my Columbus roots somehow.
Do a sports team or something something unique. It doesn't have to be like the Bengal drop or anything, but it could be like, a player or something that people will be like, if they're true fans of that area, or like me, if there's somebody who hate, like if you called it the Burrow drop, I'd be like, God damn it, really? Or the Roethlisberger kick or something like that. Like it would be something that that group of fans would be like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that would be sick. I'll have to think of that. That's what I was trying to do with like the whole like festival family, like rave kind of like community. I was trying to like get some names in there that like those people would understand, but it's just like there's not so many of those people that like go to wrestling shows. So it's just But anyway, I'll let you guys get off here. I've got to go walk my dogs. So I do appreciate you guys having me on here, like wholeheartedly. Like I can't, express it enough. I do appreciate you guys for having me on here. Any last questions? Anything else you guys want to say before we get off?
This will not be a one-off. I can tell you that. We definitely will check on you in like 6 months, maybe Please. Before that, maybe after. I definitely want to know once I give you all these names, or if you give me your booking email, we could try it different ways. I want to see you increase in your career, man. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Hopefully I have a match against you here in like a year or two. I definitely want to, I size doesn't scare me, so I definitely want to go up against you. It'd be something cool, something that we can, you know, collaborate with this podcast, do it again, anything like that. I'm looking forward to your career, man. I really am.
Hell yeah. No, I really appreciate that. I'm looking forward to talking with you guys again. I hope we can do this in the future, and hopefully when we do talk in the future, I'll fucking be even more further along in where I'm trying to go. So no, I appreciate you guys having me, really. And you know, is this where's this? Is this going to be? Do you guys have a website that we can go to?
This will be on our YouTube channel at Downtime in the Ring. This will also be on Spotify at Downtime in the Ring.
Also, for those who are watching and want to see Theo, is there any bookings coming up from MCW?
Actually,
or any shows?
Yeah, no, actually, I'm working MCW this weekend. I have a really fun match coming up that I cannot wait for. I'm defending my title against Christian Napier, formerly known as Casey Carrington. Dude's good. He's good. He's a bright young star. He's working for like AIW and Mega Championship Wrestling and a lot. He's definitely an up and comer. I want to say he's Atticus Kogar's cousin as well, or something like that. I think they're related somehow. But yeah, no, he's really dope. He's good. I've been watching him, so I can't wait. We're gonna have definitely gonna have a banger this weekend for the title.
Nice.
Yeah. So
all right.
But yeah, follow me Instagram at Destroy Theo. Just spelled Destroy Theo, no underscores or spaces or anything. Twitter, it is Strong Theo _ I believe. Okay. Yeah. So those are and then Facebook, you can look me up, Theo Strong. I have a work page there as well, where a lot of my videos and matches go as well. So those are my socials. Yeah, MCW Marion, Ohio this weekend. And then I've got a bunch of other stuff coming up that I can't think of off the top of my head. But yeah, no, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate you having me on here. And seriously, good luck to you guys as well. I can't wait to see what you guys do in the future as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I see big things for this podcast.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
And you can catch all of us in the next video.